Good morning, welcome back. I'm joined by Dr. Blair Davison of St. Pat's for another edition of Morning Rounds. Thanks for waking up with us today.
Thanks for having me here.
Today we're talking about, as we get into the holidays, traveling, safe air travel tips. So why can air travel be rough on us?
Right. Well, once you make it to the plane, that's when the fun really begins, right? So some of the problems are there's just decreased oxygen in the cabin, decreased air pressure, decreased humidity. None of these things are awesome. And then you're immobile with a lot of other people.
That's true, a lot of other people and kind of cramped in there. So what are some of the risks when you're traveling?
Well, some of the risks obviously are you're more exposed in a closed area to germs, so infection and picking up those things like a cold or a GI bug. But then the bigger risk is deep vein thrombosis or having a blood clot in your lower extremities. The other thing is that, you can just kind of get disrupted and leave your medications at home or get really irritable and cranky.
That can happen.
Those things can happen.
So what can be done to kind of ease your travel and make it a more pleasant experience and healthy experience?
Yeah, so one thing to think about is having a little travel kit. You really don't want to be using those pillows on the airplane or those blankets on the airplane. Maybe some dubious cleanliness there. So have your own travel kit. Make sure if you take medications regularly that you have sufficient medications for your whole trip on your person in the plane cabin in a carry-on. Then make sure you stay hydrated. Avoid alcohol in flight. Also, in terms of if you're going on a long flight and you want to think about preventing any possible blood clots, check with your doctor, make sure it's safe, but consider a baby aspirin before a long flight. Then stay hydrated, get up and move, and then think about contracting your calf muscles every so often.
All right, of course, what about jet lag? What can you do to kind of combat that?
So that's the great joy of a wonderful long trip. So when you're flying east, so if you're fortunate enough to be going across the Atlantic or to the East Coast, try and get some sleep on flight. If you're flying west, like to Hawaii or some other fun place, try and stay awake. And then once you get to your location, really try and be on their schedule as soon as possible. And once you're in your location, you can also think about taking a little bit of melatonin at bedtime.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions that you would like us to answer here on Morning Rounds, you can just email them to us, morningrounds@kpax.com.